Yo, what up? This is the SKA CAST with Ludvig Gür, film director for the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater documentary, Pretending I'm a Superman. Yo, what up everybody? Welcome back to the SKA CAST, first official episode of 2021. This one's a special one for me. I got the up-and-coming filmmaker himself, Ludvig Gür, and we're talking about his recently released Tony Hawk's Pro Skater documentary, Pretending I'm a Superman, which is available to stream now on Amazon's Prime Video service, Google Play, Xbox, YouTube, iTunes, you name it. Visit the official website, THPS4ever.com for more info. You see, I'm particularly excited to talk to Ludvig because I've actually followed his vlogs before he started making films, back when he was uploading Tony Hawk video game content on his channel, Icebears4ever. I remember seeing the updates he provided to his subscribers on YouTube about his goal to eventually make a documentary about the series. So to see it come to fruition is extremely cool. Without further ado, SKA CAST, let's welcome Ludvig Gür.
Thanks for making the time today, man. I know the timing issues.
Yeah, it's been good. It's good finally to be here for sure, man. I mean, like I said, I listen to your podcast. It's fun stuff. And as you know, and probably seen on Instagram, or hopefully seen at least, I'm really into ska music too. So
yeah. I seen that you play trumpet.
Yeah, I do. Well, it's kind of a new thing. I'm actually probably one of the few people who kind of, didn't start in school. I actually started just because I love ska music. So that's kind of how I got into it. So, I started with Less Than Jake and all that stuff and not, all the classic jazz and such. So.
Oh, okay. So you're playing jazz now, or are you still just?
A little, yeah. I kind of went to that now, but I mean, ska is the most fun for sure. I mean, any day, but I guess my hearing isn't as good now. So and there really aren't that many sheets with ska punk songs as there are with jazz. So it's a lot harder to get around those,
Are you reading music, or are you just kind of starting by ear?
Mostly by ear. Sometimes I do know how to read it. So sometimes I do have to, when I do the Street Light Manifesto songs. They're really hard, by the way. I don't know. Do you play the guitar or the bass? I can't remember. I remember your instruments. Yeah,
I play guitar and bass. I definitely, I don't know. I've been playing ska since I was 14. So I've definitely learned how to do it for a while. It's funny. I had a guitar teacher when I was a kid, and he was like an Iron Maiden person. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I early on, I learned how to play heavy metal. So it was kind of once I learned how to do all the ska and the reggae stuff, it was learning how to do the upbeats, because that's mostly what it is on guitar. And then learning how to skank it the right way. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling though, man? Are you doing better? Or
yeah, I'll do much. But yeah, it's kind of funny that the whole thing, I guess when the movie came out, the schedule was just full, and then it kind of calmed down, but then COVID came, and it's kind of weird. Not much, but I didn't even feel that bad. It was a week and then gone. So,
Yeah, man, I wanted to know if we could, get into your story and maybe see where you got started with everything, how you got started in films. As I told you on the DMs, man, I've been watching you since Icebears4ever.
Right. I do remember that now. Yes, that's so awesome, dude. This is actually probably the first podcast where someone, or actually, I mean, a few other people have mentioned it, but that's awesome, dude. That's so how long ago? If I can ask, what was it Icebears4ever pre that crappy?
So what it was I don't know if you've ever stumbled upon this. It's like a wiki site. It's called Tony Hawk Games Wiki.
Yeah. I did contribute to it a while, back when I was really into. I don't want to say back when I was into, but when I was really a part of the community, which I really haven't been for years now. So
I got you. Yeah. So I stumbled upon that website in 05, 06 when I picked up Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam for the Wii. And I just remember it being really good, or at least I thought it was really good. And I stumbled upon that website, and at that time I was editing on Wikipedia, so I started editing on that.
Right.
And I wrote a bunch of articles, a bunch of levels, and then I just left it alone for years. And then I came back and find there's a lot of people using it. So I just started stumbling just across just different YouTube channels, and I stumbled across the game theory where you had all the video games connected,
right, yeah.
How it was the stories would kind of connect together. And then I remember I just started watching all the rest of them. I remember you did a playthrough through Project 8, and you were breaking down a lot of philosophy in those videos, and people were loving that.
Yeah, right. That was Well, that's awesome, dude. That's so awesome. Because I mean, as you may have noticed, a lot of those videos are now gone from the internet because there's, I mean, I know it's a shame, but there's just too much stuff in there that is kind of like not good to have it in. Like, you know, I don't want people to use the sound bites and all that stuff that I was saying back then, because there was a lot of bullshit I was probably saying. So
yeah. How did you get started, like with all that, man? Like you know, playing the games, or even like just having an interest to like start a YouTube channel with that?
No, I mean, dude, I was always obsessed with the Tony Hawk games since I was, you know, a kid. Like, you know, that's kind of the first video game I really got into, and it's, you know, the last one as well in a way. But so I kept collecting the games, and as, you know, games got more popular, like, I don't know, when people played a lot of Call of Duty, like around Modern Warfare 2 time when it was like huge. I mean, I just, you know, I tried to get into those games, but I just never could for some reason. So, you know, when I was like I can't remember, maybe 7th grade, like whenever everybody got to PlayStation 3 for Christmas, I was like, I want a PS2 so I can play Tony Hawk online, you know. And it's kind of through that, you know, I always kind of dreamt about having like a YouTube channel. Like this was way back in maybe 2010. And so I kind of just started doing random like gameplay videos, and some people saw them. And because, you know, the Tony Hawk community was very small at the time, you know, it kind of gained a following really quickly. I mean, it was maybe 300 people, but that was huge to me at the time, as I was like 13, and it was really cool. But so, and then, you know, my brother had always wanted to be a YouTuber, so he kind of encouraged me, like, you should do commentary and stuff like that. You should really try to get your audience, kind of build an audience around you, not like these video games, because obviously I always use copyright music too in the videos. So, you know, I could never make any money on that and all that stuff. So, and most of the time, a lot of the good videos I actually had on that channel were actually removed. So it's a shame, man. But that's kind of how it started. And then I started doing those commentaries, and there was like no one was playing Tony Hawk games at that time. So I was pretty much the only one. And as the games got more popular, the channel got more popular. And then, you know, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 happened. And I guess that was kind of the end of it, because I was really anticipating that game. There was never really a time when I thought it was going to be good, but I was more like, maybe this could kind of be a comeback in a way that, you know, I could maybe make strategy guides and stuff. But, you know, most people didn't make it past the first 2 levels in that game. So there was definitely no need for that. So that's kind of when it, you know, when I just stopped really, because I just didn't really see the point of continuing after, especially because I wanted to focus on other projects as well and focus on my life, and like I wanted to, you know, make real movies and stuff like that. And YouTube was kind of just, you know, I couldn't really put it in the soul into YouTube that I would have wanted to see if I was watching someone constantly, because that now I'm really going on it. But that's kind of a funny thing about YouTube. I have never really been able to watch any YouTuber like ever. So I'm very interested in the whole thing. What would I kind of want to see because I couldn't watch a Let's Play video for 30 minutes straight. I'd have to see some really edited content, but I never really had the time for that. So I just kind of quit after a while. Yeah. And that's pretty much the story. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, because I remember, I think it was in those Project 8 like playthroughs. I remember you were talking to us about how you were about to get into like filmmaking, and I just remember, like a little bit after that, you like I just remember like the activity on the channel was like how you said it was kind of like kind of like sparse, and then I remember seeing the I think it was either the Kickstarter or the Patreon for the THPS film around that time.
Yeah, definitely. Or Indiegogo, but Kickstarter, yeah.
Indiegogo, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I just remember the Indiegogo was a thing, and then once Indiegogo ended, it was maybe a couple months, and then I remember seeing the trailer for Pretending I'm a Superman. So was this like your first movie that you ever put together, man, or did you work on like some films like maybe like just by yourself like before, or was this kind of like your first like shot just going at it?
It was my first feature, but you know, ever since well, I say ever since about a lot of things, but maybe since high school, I was kind of like into the idea that I wanted to become filmmaker. So I made a lot of short films in high school, and one of them got some attention, and it kind of went around a bit. And, you know, during this time as well, I kind of established a friendship with Ralph D'Amato, who ended up being the producer on the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater documentary. I met him in Sweden, and then I flew out to California when I graduated high school, because I was really like, you know, I thought things were going to be really easy and everything was going to work out, and, you know, I was going to be able to move there and shit like really quickly to become a filmmaker. Obviously, you know, it didn't happen that easily, but so, and at that time he saw those shorts and he was kind of like, yeah, this kid's pretty good, you know, we should definitely do something, because he wanted to do documentary about Tony Hawkins for a long time because he worked for Nevertsoft. Yeah. And I obviously want to do that as well, like professionally, not just me like commentating over some, you know, clips I found on YouTube.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it came together. And then, you know, I met Tony, I told him about the doc, and I was like, I want to do this. Would you be in it? And he was like, yes, like immediately, which was definitely one of the coolest moments in my life. And, you know, I guess it's a good thing that he didn't really ask for my resume or show reel or anything, because at that time I had nothing, you know, but Ralph really believed in me and like believed in me directing a product, which, I mean, that's pretty much the reason I'm here today, is that he really put faith in me. And there was a time when, you know, there were other investors coming in and they wanted to replace me as director, and they had some really good directors lined up. I gotta admit, some that I even know of. But Ralph was like, no, you can't replace this kid. Like, you may find the greatest director of all time, but you cannot find a guy who knows more about THPS than this kid. So keep him, you know. So he rejected a lot of good offers just to keep me in there. So that was really cool.
That's good because you know, exactly how you just said, you know, you could find the best person, but like, you know, does that best person like know about Tony Hawk? Like, do they know about the storylines? Do they know about, like, you know, the fact that manuals weren't in until THPS 2? Like, do they know about that stuff? They probably don't, you know? So I think that's really important. And I think it's tight that they weren't, you know, trying to fish for a resume or anything, but like, you said you met Ralph in Sweden. How did you did you guys just meet at like a festival somewhere, or was that kind of like something?
He was vacationing, so he saw the History of Tony Hawkins video I made way back in, I don't know, maybe 2013, or I think a spring break. He saw that and he thought it was really good. And, you know, looking back, it's not. But at that time, this was kind of before YouTube became what it is today, which is a much more professional platform. At that time, the best videos on the Tony Hawk games were essentially like, you know, someone put a few Google images together over music and kind of like Tony Hawk 2, Tony Hawk 3, and all that. So that was like, but now obviously it would just be like one of a million video game documentaries on YouTube. Right. But he saw that and he really liked it. And he was coincidentally going to Sweden that year. So we just met up at a restaurant, kind of just talked a lot, and he gave me a lot of Tony Hawk merch. It was a freaking cool night. And yeah, that's kind of how we just decided to keep in touch. We had no plans for any movie back then or anything. He didn't even really know I was getting into filmmaking and all that stuff. But, you know, as the years went by, we did keep in touch. And then, you know, the stars aligned, you know, when I flew out there to California. Yeah. Because that was none of that was planned. I wasn't even planning on meeting him, but yeah.
Yeah. So like through him, that's, you know, because you just said that's how you got through Tony. Was it through Tony that you met all the other pro skaters? Because the movie has all the emblematic like names that everyone like, you know, knows and loves. I mean, you know, you have Cara Beth in there, you have Chad Muska, and you know those are voices that everyone loves to hear about. You know, Rodney Mullen has a lot of segments in the movie. You know, Steve Valero's all over the movie as well. You know,
yeah. Totally. No, I mean, it was Ralph who kind of made it happen. I mean, Tony wasn't more involved in the beginning than actually being involved as a subject in the film. But Ralph, you know, worked as a producer for Nevertsoft. So he kind of kept in touch with a lot of skaters, and he's friends with a lot of them. So he pretty much got the crew together. And, you know, he kind of, it's really him. He really brought the people together. Some people we did have to reach out to, like, you know, the musicians, you know, talking about that. You know, John Feldman and those people, you know, those people we contacted their agents stuff, and they accepted and stuff like that, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, the skaters, it's all pretty much a Ralph, you know, knew these people way back in the day, and, you know, keeps in touch with them sometimes. And they agreed to be in the product because he was the producer behind it. So that's how they knew it was a serious thing. Because a lot of them don't do interviews that often, like Chad Muska. At that time, especially, he didn't really do a lot of interviews. Now, since then, he's been in the 9 Club, he's been in a few podcasts, but back then, you know, he hadn't done an interview in a long time, man. So that was really cool to kind of have exclusivity in that way.
Yeah, I was also stoked to see Jamie Thomas in there. It was kind of interesting to hear his perspective on the whole thing too. Like, I remember there was a scene where he was talking about how initially he didn't want to be in the game, and then kind of like, you know, thought outside the box and like thought what it could have been potentially. So, yeah, man. I mean, you know, the movie comes out and it's obviously still gaining speed Do you have any plans for any like follow-ups on like any more like Tony Hawk content, or are you branching out into different projects at the moment?
Yeah, I'm probably done with this subject altogether, honestly. I mean, it was fun, man, but definitely more skateboarding in the future, but not any more.